Hey, what's up? This is DJ Billy Gotti. I'm from Chicago. I just moved here via Miami, so I reside now here in the Midwest.
All right. So, how did you get into DJing?
Um, Man, as a little kid, my older brother, he's like 9 years older than me. He was, he was my idol, so he was big into breakdancing, and that's how I started as a little kid. And then as I got older through middle school, and then into high school, some of my friends were, had turntables, and that's how I started to dabble in it. And I did it for a little bit, and then took a break. And around like 2004, 2005, I started again through another friend when everything started to go digital. And, I was hooked.
Have you done vinyl or anything else?
No, I have. I'm a big vinyl DJ, but it was just easier at the time because I was traveling already a lot, that it was easier to have my library with me. I think I still have about 4,000 or 5,000 records here at my house.
All right. So, when did you decide really that you wanted to take DJing serious and make it into like a career?
I was living in Denver at the time, and I was married, and my wife was like, "You're doing so well with it. Why don't you focus on it a little bit more and see what can come out of it?" And then next thing I knew, I was living back in Miami, and I started as the new guy in town, and worked my way up real fast.
Moving from one state to the other, did you have a game plan already set out or anything, or you just swinged it and just started doing one venue to another and stuff?
Well, it's funny. I just recently went through that again. When I first did it from Colorado to Florida, I didn't really have much of a game plan. I had a couple connections, and I have a crazy work ethic. And I was in the beginning of building my brand. It was DJing was popular, but not as popular as it is now. And I just started doing great events, working with great people, networking, and then word of mouth got me some great gigs and great deals, and and then sponsorships helped me a lot. I've been sponsored by some great companies, which have helped me build a name and a brand for myself, almost like legitimizing me as a DJ, because I'm not just some guy that plays at the best clubs. I have these major companies, these multi-million-dollar international companies that are backing me, that are saying, yes, he's a part of our team.
So to aspiring DJs, how would you define a sponsorship, and what does it really mean for your career and stuff?
I think if you can associate yourself with a great brand, there's nothing negative can come out of that. Something I learned a long time ago when I was a young teenager from a mentor I had. He taught me about marketing, and he taught me about branding. And for instance, two companies that make a good product, not that it's great or different than anybody else's, but you have Absolute Vodka. They're very well known. At the time that I was learning about marketing and branding, I wasn't even old enough to drink, but I remember seeing the Absolute ads that they had in the magazines and on the commercials and on the posters, and it was the New York City cabs shaped like an Absolute bottle, or tennis balls shaped like an Absolute bottle, and talking with tennis players and stuff like that. So right there, it caught my eye. And then another great brand was Red Bull. Red Bull's been around for a while, and just in the past 10 years has been growing and growing and doing so many great things that when you go to a bar, you don't order a Absolute and Monster, or an Absolute and Four Loko. You order an Absolute and Red Bull, or nowadays it's Belvedere or whatever the case may be, but you always order Red Bull with it. So they made it a staple to make that drink, and to pair those two great companies together. So if you are doing an event for either one of them, they're already a major brand. And, if somebody says, hey, I saw this guy and he was doing a huge Red Bull event, or a Nike event, or, whatever the major brand is, that gives you a little bit more notoriety than just being like, oh, it was just some no-name DJ that we just happened to book, you know?
Yeah. So what do you think is the most important aspect of branding yourself when it comes to a DJ?
Setting yourself apart from everybody else. The one thing I'm confident in, and just moving here to Chicago, a good friend of mine is the nightlife marketing manager for an amazing group that owns, 5 or 6 venues here. And he was like, the thing that you have on a lot of these other guys is he's like, you're a big guy, he's like, but you're totally covered in tattoos and nobody can duplicate your style. And he's like, the thing with you is like, you don't try to be cool. You don't try to, wear the flashy gear or the trendy stuff. He's like, you're just who you are and your brand speaks for itself. And, for him to take notice of that, that's what I wanted. I'm not that flashy guy that's going to wear all the jewelry or show off, the new trendy stuff and wear the trucker hats and, wear the sunglasses in the club. It's not who I am. Very basic, but, my presence is known when I'm there.
All right, so how do you describe your DJing style?
Fun. It is super open format, that's hip-hop based. And it's just fun. I want everybody to leave, just even if they don't come and thank me or even know who I am. But, I'd like for them to know who I am. I want them to just know that they had a great time and be like, the music was amazing. And, I want them to leave the club sweating, have to go home and shower and think about it and just be like, that was awesome. And I would love to see, that DJ again. It has to be something fun for everybody, not just for myself.
All right, so is there any specific genre of music that you prefer, or are you okay with playing any kind of music?
Mainly hip-hop and, for myself. And then if it's, obviously when I'm out working, doing events, it's, a lot of electro and house and hip-hop remixes, and doing live edits. I think, if you're going to do a set for 2 to 3 hours and it's just one genre, you're going to get bored eventually. And if you're getting bored, that means the crowd's getting bored. There's so much music out there that you can do so many things with, that if you can be that creative, you will be able to keep the crowd's attention, and that's one of the most important things.
All right, so how would you describe the role of a DJ when it comes to like a club atmosphere?
It's the most important thing in the club. It doesn't matter. You put it this way: if you have your promoter, the club owner, the bartenders, and security, they can all show up to work and they can be great at what they do. But without the DJ, nothing's going to happen.
All right, so the DJ is pretty much the heart of the club. Without the heart, you're not running.
Exactly.
All right. So is there any DJ that was a big influence for you when you first started out that you looked up to, and any mentors?
Well, I think any DJ is going to say that, the icons always inspired them. So, we're talking about like Jazzy Jeff, Z-Trip, Rob Swift, the Executioners, all those guys. But a lot of my inspiration and a lot of what pushed me to get better were my friends. I've been blessed to have a great circle of DJ friends and family. DJ ID, who is a DMC champion. Tom LaRock, who is one of the most amazing video DJs in Miami Beach, and Chris Landry out of New York City. One of my best friends, DJ Jungle Boy. The list goes on. I mean, DJ Immortal, he's the one of the directors of the Scratch Academy in Miami. K-Razor, like these guys are all amazing DJs in their own right. So to be able to be around that, always pushed me to get better and to watch and ask questions on, things that maybe I didn't know how to do, they could help me with. And in turn, they would ask, if I was doing something they didn't understand or know how to do, we were there to help each other. But a lot of it came from my friends because, it's always great to look up to people that are, in the limelight, such as the, big celebrity DJs. But they don't really, yeah, not they don't care about you, but they don't know you well enough to understand who you are and do what you do, to where when your friends are doing it and all of you are successful, they get it. They know where they came from and they know who you are. And all those names that I've named, they've played in God knows how many countries and clubs across the United States and around the world. So, we all come home and we all know, what it's like, and then we talk about it all together. So those guys definitely were a big push and a big inspiration to me as I've been DJing.
All right. So what kind of advice would you normally give to somebody that's just starting out in DJing and they want to pursue it as a career?
Man, learn your craft. That is the most important thing. Don't give anybody a reason to talk bad about you as far as your talent. You're always going to have people that don't like you or that can, hate on you. But if you can shut them up without even opening your mouth and just by your skills alone, then you're doing something right. Make sure you learn the right way and don't depend on the digital age. There's something to be said about a DJ that can mix without a computer, without a sync button. And if anybody's ever challenged you and you are like, let's do it, let's battle, but we're not using our computers, 9 times out of 10, that DJ that is talking all that smack to you doesn't know how to DJ without his computer. So, definitely learn everything you possibly can with your computer and without your computer and learn how to spin real vinyl.
All right. Do you think DJs have got lazy over the years thanks to the advancements of technology?
Yeah, I think a lot of DJs are lazy, and I think it's, God, I can go so many ways with this. There's, where do I start? You have models that are DJs. You have celebrities that are DJs. Now the DJ is what the big hair rock band was in the 80s. It is so easy for somebody to become a DJ or say they're a DJ. And it's because of their celebrity status that they're able to do it. And, on the other end, you have some kid who, saw something on TV, saw, a Paris Hilton or a Little John or a Pauly D on TV, and it's like, I want to learn how to DJ, and they look up what they have, and they go spend $4,000 or $5,000 on equipment that they don't know how to use and they don't understand, but they're DJing because they have a sync button, because they downloaded some music off the internet, but they don't know the history where that music came from. Something I learned from a DJ a long time ago, LS1 in Miami, he gave me a folder of music and it was all original songs. And I'm listening to them just in my iPod at the time. I'm like, man, I know this song. How come I know this song? And then I realized that song was sampled in a newer song, and so on and so forth. So then that got me to be a little bit more creative on some of the sets that I did because I was using the original samples with the new versions. And I think if you know where music came from, it'll make you a better DJ other than just having somebody make a mix for you or you pre-making a mix and playing live and pretending that it's, live or that it's yours or whatever the case may be.
So do you consider some of these people actual DJs, or you just see them as just someone that's just using the title as a DJ, even though they're really not skilled to be really considered a DJ?
I think, they're just using the title, it's another way for them to make money, and I get, that's everybody's goal, but what they're doing is they're taking away from the real talent and the guys that are really, able to call themselves DJs. It's sad that they have to do that, and it's just I wish somebody would open the public's eye or even that person's eyes to get them to realize that it takes more than just a name to make you a DJ.
All right. So how do you feel about people that lowball like the pricing of events? Like instead of charging a reasonable rate, they just lowball it so they know they're going to get that event. DJ for it?
I mean, I've had guys do that to me, and I've had club owners take that. One thing I learned also from LS1 was know your craft, know what you're worth. Never take under what you think you're worth, and if it means you losing gigs, then be it. But what's going to happen is that club owner or that event person who booked the DJ is going to charge $100, next to your $1,000 or $1,500 because they want to save some money. They're going to call you halfway through the event and be like, "This DJ sucks. Can you get in here?" And that's when you have the chance to be like, "Yeah, I can be there in 20 minutes if you're going to pay me $2,000, $3,000 to be there." And that's the, what we call an asshole charge for, not going with you in the first place when you know that you were fit to do that.
That would make sense. So when it comes to DJing, is it more of a sense of friendships with different club owners and promoters? Is it more of like who you know, or is it going to come down to your skill level, even though you may not get along with the club owner or promoter?
It is, and I've actually learned it. I've been in Chicago now for 4 months, and I thought, I had, behind me the name and the brand and all these events that I've done and XYZ and all that stuff, and I thought I was going to be fine. And, this city is very behind on some of their music, and some of what they're doing. The level of talent isn't great. I've seen a handful of DJs that are absolutely amazing. There's one guy here, this guy Trentino, who, this kid just blows the wall off of clubs. Like, he is one of the best hands-down DJs I've seen in the city. And you have a couple other guys that are pretty good. And, but, everybody else that's, like, really playing a lot, it's because of who they know. It's not because of their talent. And I've seen these guys, and I just look at them, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. And where I come from, playing in Miami and South Florida and Fort Lauderdale and New York and stuff like that, like, the bar is set really high. So to come somewhere where you expect it to be set really high and it's not is definitely it's a rude awakening, because it's like, you're better than these guys, but these guys are the ones that have put in work to know the people, to know the club owners, and to kiss the ass to get where they want to get.
Okay. So, in the sense that some people are just getting ahead because of who they know, and in the long run, that may help them or may hurt them in the long run if they're not really someone of real quality, in the sense that after that person leaves or goes, they're not going to really probably have anywhere to go after that, because their skill talent isn't where it should be, in a sense, with other competing DJs looking for different events.
Exactly.
All right.
Knowing somebody is only going to get you so far, because if, you like the club and the club owner is trying to keep you but get rid of somebody else, who does your loyalty go to? Your friend that got you in there, or the club that paid you?
So, over the years, what's your setup now that you use when you go into a club?
I'm still, turntables. Give me a set of Stanton straight 150s or a set of Technique 1200s and a Rain mixer, or some 2-channel mixer that I can get down with, and a microphone, and I am happy as a kid on Christmas.
You kind of had a problem with, like, the venue or something wasn't set up right, or came into some kind of complications?
Couple years ago, where was I? I think I was in Miami. I got booked to play, and I was the headliner, and the owner, I guess, didn't like what I was playing, but I was playing to the format that they normally had, and was just being super rude. And the manager came up to me and was like, we're going to ask you to leave and whatever. And I had already gotten paid, because a lot of my stuff, obviously, I get, deposit or get paid up front. And they were just being extremely rude to me for no reason. I wasn't doing anything wrong, and I was playing fine. At least I thought. I mean, the crowd was feeling it, but I guess they didn't like it for some reason. So my monitor kept going out. That was a problem, and I was telling them that, and you know, they were saying it was me, and I'm just like, this isn't my gear, this is yours. Like, I just have my computer and my records, and they just pushed me to the point where I got super angry, and it takes a lot for me to get angry. And I literally just shut the club down. I unplugged my computer, I started to pack it away, and then I unplugged their whole sound system, the mixers and the turntables and everything from their board, so that it took them a good 15, 20 minutes to figure out how to plug everything back in. And people just started leaving, and there was nothing they could say to me or do to me because, you know, technically I didn't do anything wrong. So it sucked in that sense because that it came to that, but at the same time, you know, I wasn't doing anything wrong. It was the owner that was on some trip for whatever reason.
Or normally when you're dealing with owners, how are they normally towards you and stuff? Is it an easy, business-friendly relationship? You do your job and that's it?
It's usually, I mean, I have a great reputation. I'm a very easy I'm very easy to do business with, and you know, I don't drink. I don't really get, you know, when I work, and that's my goal, and that's my, you know, my business. So I'm very, you know, very inviting, very, you know, nice, you know, always smiling, very professional, until it comes time to actually put on a show. Then it's, you know, have fun, crazy, screams, laugh, you know, do whatever you got to do in that moment. But when I deal with owners and managers and stuff, I try to be as professional as possible. I can be a little bit intense sometimes, but you know, they see that, and they see that you know, I'm always on time or early, and you know, I love what I do, and it comes out when I play.
All right. So how would you describe the current state of music, dealing with mainstream, underground, and internet?
Oh, I mean, let's see. I mean, what we call hip-hop these days isn't really hip-hop. Any artist can go out there and have a great producer or have somebody behind them that, you know, has a name, and they can make a song popular. I think we haven't had good hip-hop in a long time, and we do have some great artists that are out there putting some stuff out, but nothing that will ever be like it was when Tupac was here and Biggie was here and Tribe Called Quest and so on and so forth in that era. And as far as the mainstream dance and housey electro and dubstep, I mean, it's all computer generated. You know, it's all, you know, go listen to a record that was made, you know, in the 70s and 80s, you know, with a live band, you know, with real drums and a real keyboard or a piano, and listen to, you know, a song now that's made in a couple hours on, you know, a Logic or an Ableton or something like that. The sound quality obviously is going to be a hell of a lot better now, but there's so much soul put into the records that were made back in the day before we had all this computer stuff. I think people are just making songs to make music, or to make money. They want to be DJs to make money. You know, not a lot of people are making music to make music, to enjoy what they have and enjoy, you know, all that comes with it.
All right. So are there any artists now that you prefer to play when you, like, artists that you actually like now that are coming out?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the electro world, there's, you know, Zed. I'm a big fan of his remixes, and Brass Knuckles. These guys are actually out of Florida, and I'm friends with one of their guys, Anthony Pisano. He, you know, he's done really good, but they have some great songs that they've put out. Trying to think who else. A lot of good remixes coming from, you know, Disco Fries and Tony Arzadon and Napalm. Like, so many great things are coming out from so many different people. And these are the people that are actually taking the time to take advantage of what they have in front of them and be great at it and be the best at their craft.
All right. So if you had to name one modern producer that you think is lives up to like the job of a producer when it comes down to creating instrumentals, is there anyone that you think that at this point in time that stands out?
I think Kid Cudi is amazing in every sense. He's production, he's a writer, he's an artist. I think he is just awesome. Like, he is so inspiring. And there's not much that he's done that I don't like. And I don't know, there's not much that I can say bad about him when it comes to, when I hear the word producer, I think of somebody that's not just making the songs, but also writing the songs, and performing the songs. If you can do that, then, you don't have to answer to anybody. You don't have to pay the royalties to anybody that, oh, you took my beat, or, oh, whatever. I think he does a lot of great stuff.
All right. So is there any advice or anything you want to share?
Yeah, have fun. When you stop having fun, it becomes a job. I've gotten to travel around the world and meet hundreds of thousands of people in different parts of the world that are absolutely amazing and inspiring to me. And the biggest thing that I always remember was to have fun. I lost that for a little bit, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the person I became. But I found it again last year, and it's been amazing to be able to have fun again with what I love to do. When people are like, well, what do you do for work? I'm like, I don't really call what I do work because I enjoy it. Like, so many people wake up to go to work every day and they're miserable. They have to go sit at a desk or, take orders from somebody, to where in this life we get to do what we want. As long as we're on the plane to be at the club that we're supposed to play at, like, there's no problems. Because as soon as we step up to the turntables, it's our show. It's our time. We get to control what happens. And to me, that's not a job. That's a hell of a lot of fun for me. And to, just to see the joy that you can bring to people from them just dancing and letting go of all their problems that may have happened that day or that week, nothing can top that.
Is there any projects that you have out now or that you're coming out with soon that you want to share with us?
There's a project in the works. I am actually working on something outside of DJing right now that's taking up a lot of my time. And I have to, I'm about to close on that deal, I think, in the next couple of days. And it doesn't have to do with music, but it's still inspiring people to do things. I'm big into CrossFit, and if you don't know what that is, you can Google it. It is, one of the fastest growing sports in the world. But it's helped me a lot, to keep up with this lifestyle that I live. But I'm buying a CrossFit apparel and accessories company to, push people to, get healthy and do stuff like that. And that for me is a big goal, and music plays a big part in that. So we're actually going to be releasing some mixtape series that have to do with that. And this year, I think I'm going to be playing a couple festivals. As soon as I sign those deals, then, I'm going to be able to release who and where. And I'm also thinking about getting back into production a little bit because I've taken a long break from that.
All right, then. So are you active on social media and stuff at the moment?
I am. Let's see. We have, my Twitter is at DJ Billy Gotti. My Instagram is Billy Gotti. My Facebook is DJ Billy Gotti. What else is there? My website is djbillygotti.com. And then I have a SoundCloud that is under DJ Billy Gotti also, and a Vimeo account to catch some videos. And that's under DJ Billy Gotti also.
All right. So is that it? Anything else?
To anybody that's out there, just good luck, and don't let people tell you can't, because I had a lot of people that told me I couldn't do this. And I've been very successful with it. And most of all, I'm thankful that I have the ability to do this, and that I didn't give up when people told me I should have. And even my parents told me I should have, and they didn't understand it. But once I started to be a bit successful, and I saw that I knew it was going to happen, I just kept going 150%. So no matter what anybody tells you out there, if you suck, practice. If you don't have a gig, practice. You know, if you just want to do it for fun, do it, and don't let anybody tell you can't. No matter how old you are, how young you are, you'll figure out a way to do it, and don't expect it to happen overnight. Just keep pushing at it, and keep your dream alive by practicing and doing your homework and doing your research on where music started. And it'll only make you a better DJ, and learn as much as you possibly can in every sense. If you want to just play house music, be the best house music DJ that you know. If you want to be a turntablist, watch the videos from the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s of the champions, and learn everything that they know. And if you want to be a club rocker, and go out, go to clubs and listen. That is the most important thing I can tell DJs, is listen to transitions, listen to music selection, watch crowd reactions, and on top of it, and I know I've said this so many times already in this interview, but have fun. That is the most important thing that I can tell you, is if you stop having fun, you're going to be miserable. So make sure you're always having fun with music, and make sure that the people that are listening are enjoying it.